Life often reveals itself through the most surprising twists and turns. That evening, as I found myself solitary in a modest hotel room, my mind wandered through the myriad events that had brought me to this moment. For months, my husband Thomas toiled away in a distant city, and though I endeavored to maintain my composure, the growing distance gradually took its toll on me. His absence weighed heavily on my heart. It was not merely his presence that was lacking, but the attention and care that had gradually slipped away. It was the emotional distance that utterly engulfed me during those endless, solitary nights. What began as a straightforward request to my stepson, Jason, unexpectedly ended up staying overnight in the same small hotel room due to unforeseen circumstances, occupying a space intended for just one. Little did I know, that night would alter the course of everything. Allow me to recount the tale from its very inception, each minute aspect. Trust me, the conclusion of this tale will unfold in ways that will surpass your wildest expectations. That morning, as I stepped out of my home, I caught a fleeting reflection of myself in the mirror. I felt the tension coursing through me, yet I managed to maintain an air of elegance. Despite Thomas's recent tendency to leave me in solitude, a sense of desirability lingered within me. I continued to sense the pulse of life within me. Yet, even those emotions had ceased to suffice. They failed to meet my expectations. As Jason wrapped up his breakfast in the kitchen, I called out to him from behind. I understand that you will be beginning your college journey at the close of summer. However, there is room for improvement in your driving skills. Come, let me accompany you and your father. He regarded me with that familiar, playful grin that was so characteristic of him. Jason was a charming boy, possessing a quirky and humorous nature, though at times he could be a tad troublesome. All right, stepmother, he said with a playful lilt. But there's one stipulation. Convince Dad to get me a nicer car for the summer. We'll talk about that, I replied, my tone brisk, as anticipation for the journey surged within me. Yet, I was completely unaware that the journey would take an unexpected turn. After 2 hours of driving, we found ourselves immersed in the journey. In the backseat, I found myself lost in the glow of my phone, while Jason entertained us with an eclectic mix of tunes from the radio, punctuated by his own brand of humor, jokes that seemed to amuse him alone. In an instant, the car emitted a dreadful noise, a piercing hiss, before it abruptly fell silent. What's happening, Jason? I inquired, making an effort to keep my voice steady. I think the car broke down, he muttered, pulling over to the side of the road. A clear frustration etched on his face. In an instant, we found ourselves marooned in the vast expanse of nowhere, with scarcely a whisper of phone signal and no one in sight to lend a hand. I found myself utterly alone. For 2 long hours, we engaged in a heated debate, reaching out to every mechanic we could locate, desperately attempting to mend the car. In the end, we found ourselves compelled to acknowledge the undeniable truth. We had no choice but to seek refuge for the night at the closest motel. As Jason engaged in conversation with the man at the counter, I lingered behind him, a wave of frustration washing over me. I couldn't shake the thought that if Thomas discovered this, his fury would be unimaginable. Yet, in that instant, it appeared to hold little significance. Deep within, I sensed that tonight held the power to alter the course of everything. Before this narrative unfolds into even more unforeseen twists, make certain to subscribe to my channel and activate notifications. I assure you, what follows will captivate your attention. I genuinely long for your encouragement in the comments. It envelops me in a warm embrace of solace and belonging, providing a serene, intimate form of fulfillment. Upon entering the room and grasping the handle, a wave of despair washed over me, succumbing to the weight of an oppressive, disquieting silence. The confines of the space were stifling, a sensation of claustrophobia enveloping me as I fought to pivot even slightly. In the quiet embrace of the room, I discovered myself enveloped by little more than a bed, a nightstand, and a soft, wavering glow from the ceiling above. A soft light flickered, bathing the surroundings in a gentle radiance that was at once soothing and eerie, outlining the shapes of my musings as they meandered through the stillness of the night. The ceiling hung heavily overhead, its oppressive presence a constant reminder of confinement, while the air conditioning offered only a faint breath of respite. A solitary narrow window revealed nothing but the expanse of the parking lot. A mere glimpse that served to remind me of a world that now seemed achingly distant. "This is it," I murmured softly to myself. His smile took me by surprise. It was unexpected, yet it ignited a feeling within me that I found difficult to articulate. Despite my initial discomfort, I realized spending the night with Jason could help bridge our emotional distance. As I stood there, it dawned on me that Jason's presence awakened echoes of my youth. Filled with uncertainty and emotions that eluded my comprehension. What had I anticipated? A luxurious 5-star establishment? I found myself pondering the true meaning behind that. The enchantment of opulence, the assurance of ease. Yet beneath it all, I found myself pondering, can it ever genuinely satisfy the emptiness within? Every star symbolizes a promise, a hope. Yet do they ever truly mirror the essence of what we are genuinely pursuing? This night is all we have. Let us pause for a moment. Dear stepmother, his mocking tone, infused with that ever-present mischievous smile, intensified my frustration and left me grappling with emotions I couldn't fully identify. Yet I struggled to completely accept the idea of harboring disdain for Jason's easygoing and laid-back demeanor. Being near him reminded me how much he had grown, making me reflective about our family connection. I felt confused, unsure about how to manage this awkward situation. The heat envelops me, a dense shroud that is both stifling and unyielding. I catch myself pressing my fingers to my forehead, seeking relief from the mounting tension that intensifies with every fleeting second. As I observe Jason, he effortlessly flops onto the bed, reclining on his back, the burdens of existence briefly alleviated from his shoulders. This realm belongs to you, Vanessa. Allow yourself the space to genuinely settle in and embrace this place as your own. For a brief instant, I found my gaze lingering on him. It struck me how significantly he had transformed, and that realization awakened a profound awareness of the passage of time, of the ways in which relationships develop and change. It caused me to stop and contemplate the intricacies of attraction, how mere appearances can stir profound emotions and reflections. Still, I found myself wrestling with that thought. It clung to the recesses of my mind. In the stillness of my thoughts, I often ponder the reality that he was Thomas's son, my stepson. It awakens a profound sensation inside me, a mixture of intimacy and intricacy that eludes my ability to express. Upon entering the bathroom, I softly shut the door, creating a barrier between myself and the outside world. In that ephemeral instant, I discovered myself lost in the depths of my own reflection in the mirror. The heat enveloped me, causing my hair to adhere to my skin. Yet in that instant, I discovered a profound sense of beauty. As I pondered, I discovered the lingering traces of that once vibrant spark deep within me. I activated the shower, letting the water flow freely as I stepped under its embrace, longing for the warmth to wash away the tangled emotions that had settled deep within me. In this moment of stillness, I can't help but ponder the reality of reaching 47 years in this life. Jason has matured, transformed from the child I once recognized. At 22, he finds himself poised on the edge of a new chapter, ready to set forth on his adventure into the realm of university life. Here we are, nestled within the confines of this modest hotel room, savoring the ephemeral moments we share. A sensation awakened inside me, a blend of discomfort and thrill that eluded my attempts to articulate. Thomas gradually emerged in my mind, remaining there as I pondered our shared experiences. Thomas harbored a longing to astonish you, to be close, to create shared memories. Yet, here I sit, trapped in this hotel room with your son, engulfed in a tempest of feelings, uncertain of how to navigate through it all. The steam from the shower filled the small bathroom, crafting a warm cocoon that embraced me. I lingered in that moment, my mind adrift, while the outside world slipped into oblivion, leaving behind the soothing melody of water flowing gracefully. In that fleeting moment of solitude, I found myself immersed in reflection, contemplating the day's events and the tumult of emotions within me, each breath intertwining with the mist that lingered in the air, the warmth wrapped around me, a gentle balm for my body, while my thoughts danced in a chaotic whirlwind, stubbornly resisting any semblance of calm. As I observed Jason's smile and sensed the comfort of his presence, An unexpected warmth began to stir within me. As I stood beneath the cascading water, an air of uncertainty wrapped around me. Though I struggled to comprehend the potential of this spark, I sensed an undeniable shift brewing within me. At last, I descended for dinner, yearning to uncover some semblance of clarity amid the tumult of my swirling thoughts. I donned a dress that danced with the breeze, the fabric caressing my skin with each graceful step I took. The dress seemed to murmur tales of ease and elegance, beckoning me to ponder the journey that brought me to this point. In that moment, it seemed perfectly suited to the oppressive heat, yet an elusive quality lingered beneath the surface. It enveloped me in a tender caress, easing the peculiar tightness that had taken residence within, coaxing me to release my grip and inhale with newfound ease. The hotel restaurant exuded a warm and inviting atmosphere, a cozy haven that perfectly suited its modest dimensions. I found myself selecting a light meal accompanied by a glass of wine, longing for that soothing wave of relaxation to envelop me. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, I was wrapped in the tender embrace of the street lights outside the hotel, their gentle glow spilling a warm, almost wistful light upon the surroundings. As I sat there, my mind drifted to the room above, a space brimming with memories that pulled at my heartstrings. I would often find myself adrift in contemplation, musing over what Jason could be engaged in at this precise moment. Envisioning a soul so vibrant and full of life discovering happiness within the limitations of a small space is indeed a challenge. The tension hangs palpably in the air, a heavy burden that seems to stifle his very spirit. There was an undeniable quality to his relaxed, carefree demeanor that ignited a tempest of emotions within me, rendering me bewildered and at a loss for words to explain the depth of its impact. As I drained the last of my wine, I paused to admire my plate one final time before embarking on my gradual climb up the stairs. Upon entering the room, a deep silence surrounded me, cradling my thoughts in a tender hold. Upon opening the door, I was greeted by a breathtaking sight that left me momentarily suspended in a tranquil reverie. In a serene moment, I discovered Jason, freshly showered, reclining in bed, enveloped in his robe, completely immersed in the depths of slumber. As she stood there, the fabric of her robe slipped away, revealing the graceful lines of her slender, fit figure. In that fleeting instant, I was entranced, drawn in by the delicate balance of vulnerability and strength that appeared to harmonize within her. The cool strands of my damp hair grazed my forehead, and a subtle smile played upon my lips. As though I had wandered into a dreamscape, my heart began to pound within my chest, each throb resonating in the stillness that enveloped me. It was the ultimate revelation I had never expected to face. For a fleeting moment, I stood paralyzed at the threshold, a shroud of uncertainty enveloping me, rendering my next move a perplexing mystery. A curious amalgamation of emotions churned within me, each clamoring for its moment in the spotlight. A warmth crept into my cheeks, an overwhelming sense of embarrassment enveloping me, yet my gaze remained steadfastly locked on him, unable to divert my eyes. "Vanessa, what in the world are you up to?" "It is my son, Thomas's child." I found myself enveloped in a silent tempest of self-blame, yet my gaze wavered, inexplicably captivated by the part of his robe that had fallen aside. I was embarrassed and quickly looked away, realizing I had seen more than I intended. The sight I beheld stirred a soft glow in my heart. The confined quarters of the room intensified my emotions, enveloping me like a dense shroud, stifling, yet oddly comforting. In that instant, it dawned on me that there was no alternative resting place, only the heavy burden of solitude enveloping me, a poignant reminder of the decisions I had embraced and the avenues I had left unexplored. In the stillness of the night, I pondered whether she nestled beside him, wrapped in warmth, or if she opted for the solitude of a chair, adrift in her thoughts as the hours quietly passed by. In this oppressive heat, the mere idea of locating a chair seemed like a distant fantasy. Upon entering the room, time appeared to elongate, each instant laden with unvoiced thoughts and emotions. As I lingered in that moment, Jason's steady and rhythmic breathing filled the air, wrapping the room in a gentle, soothing embrace. I took a deep breath, striving for clarity, but the chaos inside me obscured my mind, leaving me lost in a haze of uncertainty. I discovered a necessity to collect my thoughts and feelings, to assemble the scattered pieces of my existence. "All right, Vanessa," I murmured gently, sensing the gravity of the moment enveloping me. "It is merely a single night. Nothing more to it. This seems to lack any meaningful importance." A beautiful idea had blossomed in my mind to surprise Thomas. Yet here I stand, ensnared in a moment of uncertainty. I grapple with the desire for reason, striving to uphold a semblance of tranquility in the midst of the tumult that envelops me. I approached the bed with deliberate slowness, my eyes locked onto Jason, my mind adrift in contemplation. His innocent expression appeared to intertwine with the threads of my already tangled thoughts, amplifying the intricacy of my emotions. I sat on the edge of the bed, my mind wandering as I contemplated the mysteries the night might hold. In the quiet embrace of the night, a soft sound roused me from my dreams. As I gradually opened my eyes, I paused to allow the world to sharpen into view, surveying the room with a tranquil sense of reflection. A gentle movement in the bed caught my attention, drawing my eyes to Jason, who was softly rousing from his slumber. I observed him, his gaze weighted with a persistent fatigue, as he sifted his fingers through his hair, the soft scratching of his scalp creating a calming cadence in the quiet of the scene. I reclined, my eyelids scarcely parted, observing him from the dim recesses of my own musings, feigning a deep slumber. Yet, deep within me, a tempest brewed, hidden beneath the calm exterior. In that instant, I found myself sharply attuned to it. His gaze holds me captive, drawing me into a profound contemplation. As my heart began to race, a torrent of emotions surged within me, drawing me into a contemplation of the events that were unfolding around me. His gaze lingered on me, and in that instant, a tide of vulnerability surged within me. I endeavored to maintain the illusion, donning a lethargic visage and remaining utterly still. Yet, within me, emotions churned, restless and unresolved. As I lingered in that space, the gravity of the moment enveloped me in a hushed embrace. In the quiet confines of the bathroom, I yearned for a moment of stillness, oblivious to the intricate web of thoughts that had woven themselves within my mind. Every motion seemed intentional, imbued with contemplation. As I gazed into the mirror, I encountered not merely my reflection, but the delicate balance of strength and vulnerability that resides within me. I acknowledged the passage of time and its profound influence on my identity and self-perception. As I observed the delicate transitions of his muscles with every motion, a surprising warmth started to blossom inside me. It lay outside the realm of my influence. In that hushed instant, I discovered myself wrestling with two deep insights. As I observed Jason, an unexpected sense of acceptance washed over me, as if I hesitated to intervene, to disturb the moment that was so intricately linked to my own emotions. I delved into the depths of the closet, my fingertips gliding over the textures, and retrieved a pair of shorts. The atmosphere was thick with nostalgia, every strand murmuring tales of sunlit afternoons and ephemeral experiences. As he engaged in his work, I sensed his gaze drift in my direction, a fleeting, almost tentative look from the periphery of his vision, as though he were probing for indications of my consciousness, questioning whether I was genuinely present in that instant. Their eyes sparked a profound reaction inside me, awakening a whirlwind of feelings I struggled to understand. I found myself ensnared in a fragile equilibrium, striving to restrain myself while simultaneously yielding completely to the profound gravity of the moment that surrounded me. As I slipped into the shorts, I lingered in the stillness of the room, hesitant to retreat back to the cozy embrace of the bed. In that moment, she nestled into the chair in the corner of the room, her eyes locked onto mine, as if she were attempting to decipher the intricacies of my mind. The intensity of their stare was disquieting, yet it stirred something deep and ineffable within my spirit. I reclined, eyelids firmly closed, enveloped in the quietude, feigning a descent into slumber. Yet, how much longer could I persist in donning this facade? Finally, I reached a point where the burden became too much to endure, and I descended into a profound stillness that surrounded me. As my eyes met Jason's, an intense desire surged within me to convey all that churned inside. Unrestrained and genuine, your presence ignites a profound feeling within me. Jason. The words lingered in the atmosphere, a tangible heaviness that felt within reach. In that instant, a deep understanding enveloped me, and I recognized that everything had shifted beyond repair. As Jason's eyes fluttered for a brief moment, I sensed the heavy silence wrapping around us. He took a deep breath, as if collecting the scattered pieces of his mind, and then, with a tentative tone, he started to reveal the depths of his inner self. Fragile and volatile, I find myself at a loss. Vanessa, he murmured, his voice low yet resolute. Ever since my father departed, we have coexisted in this space for what seems like an endless stretch of time. As time flows onward, my emotions for you grow richer, revealing layers I never expected to encounter. There are times when I struggle to hide the profound admiration that rises within me for you. At this moment, I find myself ensnared in a dream, a surreal fog that wraps around my thoughts. His words took me by surprise, yet they stirred a profound emotion within me. Jason's eyes locked onto mine, steadfast, while everything else around us dissolved into a faint haze. Gazing into his eyes, I was enveloped by a profound honesty and fervor that captivated me completely. As dawn breaks, I find myself pondering the task that lies before me, repairing the car. The notion of awakening at dawn dances in my thoughts, a subtle nudge of the duties that lie ahead. I continue forward, sensing every instant elongate in front of me, a serene expedition into the recesses of my mind. His voice quivered slightly, as though he sought solace from within, yet his eyes held a firm resolve, steadfast and rooted in something profound. At this very moment, my eyes are wholly captivated by you, Vanessa. At this juncture, I am wrestling with feelings that are entirely foreign to me. My heart raced, each beat resonating in the stillness that enveloped me. At that moment, I shifted to the edge of the bed, positioning myself in the chair that faced him squarely. When our eyes locked, an overwhelming tide of unexpressed emotions surged within me. Our bond ran deep, surpassing the limitations of language. In that hushed instant, we remained enveloped in stillness. His lips softly pressed together as he shifted his gaze in my direction. A palpable tension of unexpressed thoughts lingering in the space that separated us. In this moment of quiet reflection, my thoughts inevitably drift to you. Jason, your essence remains in my thoughts, a soft echo of the times we experienced together. It is impossible not to ponder the journeys we've embarked upon, the decisions that have brought us to this moment. It is a serene reflection, evoking a mixture of wistfulness and yearning deep within my soul. I find myself pondering your well-being, the musings that fill your hours, and whether you ever take a moment to reflect on me as well. These emotions carry a richness, an intertwining that is at once delicate and deeply significant. In this quietude, I welcome the memories, letting them flow over me like a gentle wave, evoking the beauty and intricacy of our shared journey. I spoke gently, my voice infused with a blend of awe and a touch of rebellion. Do I truly grasp the essence of what you're conveying? As I gazed into Jason's eyes, I felt an extraordinary depth, a yearning to embrace this moment not through the noise of language, but through the subtle echo of feelings. He stayed quiet, but the intensity of his stare communicated all I needed to grasp. At that instant, a profound realization took root inside me. I realized that we had ventured beyond a point of no return. As I looked into his eyes, a surge of courage enveloped me, intertwining with a profound, nearly overpowering desire that resonated deep within my being. The mixture of doubt and passion in his eyes drew me further in. With a deep breath, I sensed the heavy burden of my thoughts constricting my chest. As I finally found my voice once more, it emerged with a steady timbre, yet beneath it lay a current of unwavering determination. Jason, I murmured, seeking to ensnare his complete focus. Upon entering the room, I discovered you in a serene slumber, your robe softly draped, and in that instant, I found myself observing him, reflecting on how quickly time had changed him, rendering me unable to divert my gaze. It resonated within me more profoundly than I could have ever imagined. These emotions are inescapable. At the core, we both grasped that reality. In the quiet that enveloped me, my words hung in the air, and I took a cautious step forward, gradually lifting myself to my feet. His eyes remained fixed on each delicate movement I made, and I sensed the rapid rise and fall of his breath, a mirror of the charged atmosphere that enveloped us. Feelings swelled inside me, intense and deep, As my fingers grazed the sash of my dress, I lingered in the act of untying it, savoring the gravity of the moment. With every delicate pull, I sensed the slight change in his breath, a soft echo of the tension that lingered in the atmosphere surrounding us. As I spoke, my voice trembled, and I found myself immersed in profound contemplation about the necessity of achieving equilibrium in our lives. As I carefully grasped the zipper, I felt the soft tug of the fabric yielding to my touch. Each motion intentional and imbued with a subtle significance. I prepared quietly for sleep, feeling vulnerable due to the awkward circumstances. The gentle breeze brushing against my skin only served to amplify the flames that burned within. Each inhalation a poignant reminder of the chaos swirling inside me. In that instant, a profound bond enveloped me, as though his eyes contained an entire cosmos of unexpressed thoughts and feelings. Time seemed to stretch, revealing the intricate layers of his soul mirrored in my gaze. A sudden, unexpected moment enveloped me, a wave of admiration crashing over my senses, intertwined with an undeniable attraction that tugged at the depths of my being. Impossible to resist. The stillness that enveloped us crafted an invisible bond, a delicate thread intertwining our hearts in a manner that language could never fully convey. In that instant, I sensed the profound bond of our aspirations, intricately intertwined in a manner that appeared to rise above the mundane. With each step I took, my eyes were drawn to his, the air thick with the weight of unvoiced thoughts. In that quiet moment, I found myself whispering softly, pondering whether we genuinely grasped the depths of our connection. Jason's eyes held mine, his expression steady, a burning intensity that felt as though it penetrated the very depths of my being. In that instant, he ascended gradually, his eyes locked onto mine, and activated the light, casting a glow across our surroundings. The gentle illumination wrapped around me like a warm embrace as he approached, his hand deftly turning the key in the lock. My heart began to pound within my chest, each throb resonating in the silence that enveloped me. In that instant, it felt as though time had frozen, leaving only the bond that tethered us together. With each step he took closer, my breath hitched in my throat, a wave of anticipation coursing through me. It was as if he was gazing into the very core of my being, seeking out the words that remained unvoiced. Yet, an unmistakable sense of the subtle tension hung in the air, a silent force that connected us in that moment. As he approached, his hand instinctively reached out, steadying me just as I was about to falter. The gesture took me by surprise, not due to its significance, but rather because of the rarity of feeling supported once more, stirring something profound within me. In that instant, a profound stillness enveloped us, brimming with unvoiced reflections and feelings. His gaze held me captive, a subtle tension weaving through the atmosphere, uncertain yet unmistakably palpable. I averted my gaze, striving to calm my breath, engulfed by the sheer intensity of the moment. A profound stillness enveloped the scene, elongating time itself, as though the world had come to a halt, beckoning contemplation over movement. What I discovered was not clarity, but an unexpected emotional weight that compelled me to ponder the true significance of this connection. As my hands settled on his shoulders, I became acutely aware of the strength and warmth enveloping me, a soothing presence that seemed to embrace my entire essence. In that instant, the space that had once kept us apart dissolved, and I sensed our breaths merging, forging a profound bond that surrounded us entirely. In that instant, it felt as though all the emotions we had long concealed burst forth, saturating the air around us with a heaviness that was almost unbearable. Jason's youthful optimism contrasted sharply with the complex emotions I was wrestling with. At the threshold, a surge of fear and exhilaration enveloped me. It was the break of a new era, a moment that resonated profoundly within my spirit. That night, all we had endeavored to hide emerged, unfiltered and inescapable. I surrendered to the inviting embrace of the bed, as the burdens of the day gradually melted away from my shoulders. A weight of fatigue envelops my body, while my thoughts dance in a relentless whirlwind, stubbornly evading stillness. My breath surged in erratic rhythms, each inhale echoing the chaos that churned inside me, as my foot lightly brushed against the delicate fabric of my dress laid out on the floor. A surge of memories enveloped me, each thread murmuring tales of bygone moments. Jason's eyes locked onto mine, and I felt an intense, silent energy emanating from his gaze, wrapping around me in a moment that was both weighty and deeply significant. A moment later, he bent down to retrieve the dress, his fingers softly brushing against the spot where my foot had lingered, evoking a subtle contemplation within me. That seemingly simple gesture sparked a warmth within me, awakening something profound deep within. As I grasped the dress, I noticed a brief flicker of doubt in his gaze, yet it dissipated almost immediately, replaced by a determined expression that etched itself into my memory. She placed the dress aside, her fingers delicately tracing the edge of the bed. A stillness enveloped the space, rich with unvoiced emotions and reflections that hovered tantalizingly close, yet remained elusive. With a soft uncertainty, I ascended onto the mattress, each motion intentional and steeped in a serene reflection. As I observed her movements, a weight settled in my chest. Each gesture was measured and intentional, as though she were traversing a realm brimming with unvoiced sentiments and hidden feelings. As he approached, I noticed the emotions dancing across his features, a mixture of exhilaration and an irresistible force that echoed profoundly within me. As I reclined on the opposite side of the bed, I felt Jason's essence surrounding me, a subtle reminder of the connection we held. My heart thumped rhythmically, each pulse echoing through my being. In that fleeting moment of stillness, I sensed my breath becoming more profound. As he leaned in closer, a deep realization enveloped me, illuminating the way the distance that once lay between us had all but disappeared. It was as though I stood on the precipice of something deeply significant. The world around me transformed, leaving me suspended in the quietude of that instant. In that instant, I understood that retreat was no longer an option, and the tempest of feelings inside me threatened to overwhelm my very being. A peculiar blend of agony and elation surged through me, compelling me to reflect on the intricacies of my emotions. As I looked up at the ceiling, Jason's face emerged clearly, and I became entranced by the tender motion with which he brushed his hair back from his forehead with his hand. In his gaze, I caught a glimpse of the profound currents of Jason's feelings. He exuded a comforting glow, a lively shade that reflected the happiness surging inside him. In that moment, he seemed genuinely happy, and I found some comfort in his positive energy. As I observed him, a profound sense of connection washed over me, resonating with the passion he infused into each movement. His breathlessness resonated deeply within me, awakening feelings I struggled to express. I observed him invest his soul into every endeavor, and a profound sense of kinship washed over me as I recognized the way he fought to regain his breath. Jason, you have stirred emotions within me so deep that I discovered comfort in the instant our car came to a halt. I can't seem to escape the memories of this hotel, Jason murmured, his voice trembling with emotion. His words hung heavily in the air, each syllable pressing down on me, making it difficult to draw in a breath. As I gazed into her eyes, I perceived a flicker of uncertainty, her hands revealing a delicate tremor that conveyed so much more than words ever could. My body was taut, muscles tightening with every deliberate motion, as if I were grasping at a transient memory, savoring it for just a moment more. He found himself wishing that his father would never entertain the thought of selling the car again. After uttering those words, he let himself sink down beside me, with his eyes gently shut. A profound silence wrapped around him, and he became adrift in the tranquility, permitting his breath to slowly rediscover its natural cadence. At that instant, I was completely exhausted, as though every bit of vitality had been drawn out, leaving me enveloped in a profound stillness. My legs twitched restlessly as I drifted into the serene embrace of silence, oblivious to the moment when slumber had softly claimed me. The following morning, I discovered Jason had returned with the car repaired, and he softly reminded me that we needed to collect Thomas and make our way to the city where he awaited us. A tide of remorse enveloped me, intertwined with a tempest of conflicting feelings. Yet beneath the surface, a spark of exhilaration flickered within. As I looked at Jason, I sensed the intensity of his gaze, the significance of his actions. Everything about him ignited a spark deep within me. All seemed ensnared in complexity, and still, I found myself adrift in the fog of uncertainty regarding what the future held. In that instant, I was caught in a tempest of swirling questions and profound, unyielding emotions that pulled at my very heartstrings. In that instant, surrounded by a tempest of thoughts and emotions, a singular truth emerged to ground me. This journey appears to be a pivotal moment, a time when everything could change in ways I have yet to grasp. If you have traveled alongside me to this moment, I feel that my narrative has resonated with something profound within you. As I ponder the moments we have shared, I am filled with a sense of nostalgia. If you sense a connection, you might want to press the follow button, activate notifications, and share your reflections on this story with us. Your voice holds significance in this journey. I am filled with anticipation as I await your insights, curious about how they may align with my own musings.